Hello there, I'm Rhino GT4 and welcome back to the ETCC. What once was a beautiful Sebring, unfortunately the heavens decided to open up, and for round 4 of the ETCC here, things gonna be a little wet, as we're gonna have us a wet race around Sebring. And just like with the second race at Brands Hatch, this race 2 here is 1 lap shorter than the first. 6 laps around Sebring in the wet. We have another random grid with Afternoon 7 starting on pole, Harry K5 starting second once again. And myself, I'm starting in 10th position in this race. And race 1 winner, Invisible AK, I believe is starting 11th on the grid. So if he wants to do the double, he's going to have to work hard for that. So, without further ado, let's get this race underway. Round 4 of the ETCC is a go. Everybody sliding off the line with the decreased grip from the rain. Couple guys on to the right get hooked on the puddles towards the pit wall. So everybody fans out, heads into turn 1. There's spray everywhere. There I go, way on the outside. We'll get a little bump on the exit from, I believe that was, I can't remember his name. I pressed the wrong replay control. That was DJ Yuyuko, who gave me a little bit of a tap exit in turn 1. Got me very sideways, but managed to keep it under control. As I have Pix Bunny on my outside, who ran wide off the turn. Everybody trying to find their way through the rain and the spray, as well as try to gain as many positions as they can off the start. So we all fly into, well, I don't really say fly, we all gingerly brake very early for turn number 4, except for Pix Bunny, who was not exactly expecting that, and he kind of rammed. He had nowhere to go and rammed me in the rear, but unfortunately I believe both of our cars were okay. My car is definitely okay, and Pix's should be, hopefully. Hopefully he didn't get much damage. So you see, there are puddles everywhere, especially on the apexes here at Sebring. This rain is not doing anybody any favors whatsoever. It's very, very much just an ice rink around most of the corners, as we have a advertising board trying to ruin my race and take me out. Oh my. Oh, going very, very wide around the left-hand kink, carrying a little too much speed. As we head into this little chicane before the long run to the Sunset Bend. Invisible AK somehow has made his way through almost the entire field here on the first lap and is going for second place. I believe second place. I am running in 4th. So yes, I went from 10th to 4th. And Invisible AK went from 11th to 2nd. What? How did he do that? AK was on it. He's apparently a rain master, because he just... like, I didn't even notice him making his way through the field. So, that quest for the double is, off to a very, very good start, despite his very bad grid position. As we complete lap number 1, I have Emil hot on my tail, looking to the outside. I run a very defensive line into turn 1. Was Emil give me a tiny tap, racing hard against each other, a little bit of a bump and run, go wide on the exit and hit the puddle on the exit of the turn, knocking off some of my momentum, giving Emil the advantage. I may or may not have gotten bumped by Pix Bunny again there heading into turn 2. I saw some sparks, and once again a misjudgment in braking stuff. More contact to be had as the argy-bargy continues, and now being pressured heavily by Pro D, Forza 4 AMG, as well as Pix Bunny, as I try to make a move on Emil. Almost 3 wide, heading into turn 4. Big dive on Emil. I bump the inside curb, give me a little bit of understeer, and pushes me into Emil. But no harm done, as Emil gets pretty much bullied out of position by Pro AMG, Prada AMG. And then once again by Pix Bunny, so Emil gets shuffled all... Well, oh, nope. Emil's holding position on Pix Bunny so far, so he's still holding on to 6th position. As I try to pressure Boost and Ethanol here, running in 3rd place. A very strong early run here for Boost, who has been struggling in the early days of... or in the early races here of the ETCC. But I believe he only has 1 point on the board. I could be wrong about that. And Boost, oh, he took it way too heavily, way too hard into the right-hander, not slowing down near enough, almost pretty much straight lines. The turn goes super wide and loses a ton of position, so that good run is no more. As we now have the BMW squad, all 3 BMWs here fighting for 3rd position, 2nd position. We have myself, Afternoon 7, and Prod AMG. So we head into Sunset Bend. I'm stuck on the outside as 7 runs super wide. This turn is very, very sketchy in the rain. I get a very good run through the turn and on the exit as I try to push Prod down the track as the BMW train continues, completing lap number 2. 7 looking to the inside into turn 1, not able to make a move. As Prod 1 runs wide off of turn 1. So I'm going for 2nd place, trying to get it, make the pass, but I outbrake myself just a little bit. Exit the track, rejoin into Pix Bunny's path, nowhere for him to go. We just cannot keep our cars off of each other throughout this race. That is like the 3rd time we've made contact, but luckily our cars are not damaged. And if they do have damage, it's very minimal. So, yeah, apparently my BMW is a big fan of Skittles, it seems. As we hear more contact, possibly from the other 2 Bimmers. So we now have the Scirocco here joining in the BMW brigade. Let's go around the left-hand kink, which is pretty much an entire puddle. There's no, like, good line to take around that kink. You just kind of have to go across the puddle and hope for the best. Just try to take it as straight as possible. At least that was my plan. So I looked to the inside of Pix, but realized that's just not a good idea. My line has been compromised because I was making a pass on Afternoon 7, so the line I usually took around that turn here in the wet was compromised, hit a bunch of puddles. Luckily I'm able to stay in front of Afternoon 7 and hold on to what is now 4th position, as a bunch of shuffling just continues. We would take it a little wide off the right-hander, hit the curbs, bouncing off the curbs, upsetting my car to no end. Get a bump from Afternoon 7 as he carries a little too much speed down the last right-hander in that sequence, forcing me wide and slow down, but it's fine as I get the slipstream down the straightaway. I look to the outside to make a movement. Afternoon 7 with a very defensive line. So we are hard on the brakes for Sunset Bend. We both go wide. Oh no, contact. Oh, and a crash from Afternoon 7. Let's look at that again. So let's do this a quick rewind here. Especially we both race driving very, very hard, braking as late as possible into Sunset Bend as we can. Try to do a little slow-mo here. My controls are not the best. Anyways, yes, braking very hard. We both take the line very wide. I'm not scrubbing off as much speed as 7, for I am definitely sliding my car a bit more, or a lot more than him. And I end up just bumping him in the rear right there. Actually, that was some pretty substantial contact. That we look at it again. Very substantial contact. Both of our cars get very, very upset through that contact. 7's trying to chase it up the track as best as he can. I'm scrubbing off speed to give him the right of way, to be courteous since I did make the contact. But unfortunately, 7 is not able to recover completely until or before he collides with the tire barrier as it just swallows his car. and turns him around. So a very, very unfortunate incident there, as we were both racing very hard to either gain or maintain 4th position. So very, very unfortunate for 7 as we begin lap number 4. What that has allowed, what that has allowed is for Pix Bunny to gain a massive gap on me, and basically the top 3 have now checked out of the field, with Invisible AK actually in the lead from 11th on the grid. So he's working hard on that double, and it's looking very, very possible here at Sebring. So we have a battle for 5th position just behind me between Emil and I believe Mako. Yep, Mako Racing Heart GT. So let's join this battle for a bit, as these two race hard close behind me. So I try to just kind of settle into a rhythm here as much as I can on this very wet roads here at Sebring. So Emil and Racing Heart battle hard. Looks like Mako's got the run. He's looking to the outside, but they both hit the puddle. They go wide on the left-hand kink, but they're able to keep it clean. Luckily. Oh, very aggressive run through the turn by Mako. A little bit of contact, but cannot make a pass on Emil, as Emil drives very, very defensively. Takes maybe too low of a line through that right-hander, but is able to protect his position. As you saw, let me rewind here. As you saw, you may have saw a static car here of H. Pender. He had to actually leave the lobby because, and unfortunately score DNF because the textures did not load on his client, unfortunately, for this race. After a very strong 7th place finish in race 1, unfortunately technical issues plagued his race 2 and he was forced to retire early. So everybody's sliding through the sequence, some more than others. Emil trying to chase me down to go after 4th position. As we head down the long straightaway, as Emil disappears in the mist and fog. Very, very foggy this back straight is. As I go pretty wide under braking. I do that a lot around here in the wet, especially. So come to take 2 to go. So we might have a battle for 2nd brewing here between Prod AMG and Pix Bunny here. Ooh. Just as I say, it looks like Pix may have touched a bit of the puddle over on the pit wall side of the front straight. But here we have 2 laps to go. Let's see if that Scirocco can use its speed advantage to get around this BMW. Because the Scirocco has definitely been by far the car to beat in this race, or in this race weekend. With its not massive, but good and big enough to definitely give it an advantage, straight line advantage. This probably tries to keep things very tidy, trying to get as little wheel spin as possible out of the hairpin. And looks like things might have settled down for now as far as this battle. So let's go back through the field, see if we can pick up on any racing big battles going on here. We only have a possible battle for 7th position here between Afternoon 7 and Harry K5 in the Pinketeer. So these two are running fairly close to each other as they go over the puddle, the big puddle. Looks like 7 is able to keep his car under control and maintain his gap on Harry, as he looks like he's also trying to chase down Mako in the 6th place Subaru just up ahead. So he runs over both puddles. There's the retired car of Pender yet again. Slight replay glitch. It's fine. 7 taking a little wide, going off the track. That's going to cost him some time. That's going to close Harry right up to him. If he's not careful. Taking the inside wheels completely inside the curbs, almost hitting the curbs on with his outside wheels on the apex of that final right-hander. Upsetting his car a little bit, possibly. So we approach the final lap of the race. 7 drives hard into Sunset Bend, maybe a little too hard, going wide, don't hit the tire wall again. He hits the tire wall again. Oh man, that's unfortunate for 7. Wrecked in the same exact spot as I accidentally punted him into a few laps prior. That's very unfortunate. Now he's under pressure for 8th position from Jimmy T. It's T, yeah, Jimmy T 1996 as we begin the final lap of the race. Oh, and 7's race is going from bad to worse as he runs wide off of turn 1, giving Jimmy the advantage. Looking for a move into turn 2, can't quite make it. So he settles in for now. But Jimmy will be looking to get that extra championship point for Subaru. And himself, of course. Seven pulls away a little bit in the run to turn 4. Building up a little bit of a gap here. But quite a nice gap. Jimmy may have struggled through those last few corners. And we have DJ Yuyuko running in the 10th and final points position. So let's see how this battle for second is going, if it still is. There's Invisible AK flashing in front of the screen, so these top 3 are not separated by much. But they're separated enough to where it's basically no actual overtakes can be made unless someone makes a mistake, as I am pretty much on my lonesome here, heading into the final section of the race. Final sector, excuse me. So after all the madness of the first few laps, I just kind of end up in my place as faster than the competition behind me, but much slower than those in front of me. So as I head around Sunset Bend for the final time, once again running on the outside of the white line, but bringing it way down to the bottom at the end. Me and that corner don't agree. I take like 1,500 different lines around that turn. I just kind of weave my car around as I head across the line to finish the race. So let's see how this little scrap is going. At some point, Jimmy's actually gone around afternoon 7 here for 9th, and 7 is actually in jeopardy of losing 9th to Yuyuko here, because they head around the final turn. 7 keeps a very, very tidy line, a little bit of counter steer there, and he makes it off. So 9th place, excuse me, for afternoon 7 after just a race that went from bad to worse, and I kind of started it. So after a very, very eventful race, thanks to the rain, Invisible AK manages to pick up the double after an incredible first lap effort, passing pretty much the entire field in one lap. Coming in second place, 3 seconds behind, is Prod Forza 4 AMG. Pix Bunny rounds out the podium, 5 seconds back, and I finish in 4th. So top 4 finishers the same from race number 3 in the same order. And finally running out the top 5 is the Real Emil. 6th place is Racing Heart GT. Harry manages to take 2nd. Jimmy taking 8th place at the last lap thanks to a possible mistake from afternoon 7, who I've documented his struggles with this race, and getting the final point of race number 4 and getting his first point of the championship is DJ Yuyuko. So let us move on to the standings after our Sebring rounds. Prod Forza 4 AMG still holds the lead. He's pulled his points gap to 4 over Pix Bunny, But Invisible AK is now only 9 back in 3rd position, with myself in 4th place, a comfortable 20 points back. And I say comfortable because I have a 24-point advantage over what is now a joint 5th place between Harry 5K and the real Emil. And finally, let's take a look at the manufacturer standings after Sebring. BMW still holds the lead, but now only holds a 2-point advantage over Volkswagen. Ford remains in 3rd, Subaru still in 4th position, Peugeot in 5th, and Lexus, and now Mazda, getting a point thanks to Yuyuko, I believe. Yes, he was in the Mazda, are now joint 6th place after 4 races here in the ETCC. So that'll conclude this coverage of round number 4 of the ETCC. Hope you enjoyed, and next week we'll be going to Lime Rock Park for a very interesting rounds 5 and 6, because Lime Rock is more of a twisty track, so the Volkswagens might not have as much of an advantage there, but we'll see what happens when we get there. But for now, stay tuned for more ETCC.